Think about the last time you clapped for something you didn't actually like. A boring wedding speech, a mediocre school recital, a meeting where someone said something you privately thought was a bad idea. You clapped anyway, not because you decided to. Your hands just moved. And here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. You weren't the only one faking it. Statistically, in almost every room like that, most of the people clapping around you didn't mean it either. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your body overrides your own opinion in seconds, and why this happens even to people who consider themselves independent thinkers. This isn't really about clapping. Clapping is just the easiest place to catch it happening. Today we're breaking down exactly why your body agrees with a crowd before your brain does. The specific trap that makes you think you're the only one faking it. A study that caught people unconsciously copying a total stranger's exact physical habits. And, save for last, a genuinely strange discovery about applause that sounds more like physics than psychology. Stick around to the end. The physics part is the strangest thing in this whole video, and it's real. Here's the direct answer to the question in the title. Psychologists have a name for it: pluralistic ignorance. It means everyone in the room privately disagrees with what's happening, but everyone assumes they're the only one who feels that way, because everyone else looks like they're on board. So the room claps. Not because the room agrees, because every single person in it is reacting to everyone else's performance of agreement, not their actual opinion. There's real research on this outside of applause too. Studies on college drinking culture have found that most students privately feel uncomfortable with how much their peers drink, while simultaneously believing they're the only one who feels that way. Everyone's quietly following a norm that, individually, almost nobody actually agrees with. Swap drinking culture for the applause in this room, and it's the exact same trap. Every person claps, assuming they're the one exception faking it, while statistically, most of the room is thinking the identical thing about themselves. And it turns out this doesn't stop at opinions. Your body fakes agreement too, even one-on-one, with no crowd at all. In 1999, psychologists ran a study where participants sat down for what they thought was a simple conversation task with another person, who was secretly working for the researchers. During the conversation, that person would either keep shaking their foot or keep rubbing their own face without ever mentioning it. Hidden cameras recorded the real participants the entire time. And without exception, people started doing it too. Shaking their foot if their partner was shaking theirs. Rubbing their face if their partner was rubbing theirs. Most had no idea they were doing it at all. When researchers showed people the footage afterward, most were genuinely shocked. They'd copied a total stranger's random physical habit in real time for the entire conversation. Psychologists call this the chameleon effect. And here's the detail that makes it stranger. The people who mimicked the most also rated the conversation as smoother and liked their partner more, without knowing why. Your body isn't just copying people, it's using that copying to decide, underneath your awareness, whether it likes them. So if faking agreement happens one-on-one, and it happens across a whole room, how far does this actually go? Further than psychology, it turns out. In the year 2000, a team of physicists studied recordings of concert hall applause the same way they'd study any physical system, and found that audiences don't just clap at random. Within seconds, a chaotic room of individual claps spontaneously locks into rhythm, everyone clapping in near-perfect unison, before breaking apart into chaos again and resyncing a moment later. Nobody decides to do this. Nobody's counting a beat. It happens the same way fireflies in a field end up flashing in unison, or the way a room of pendulum clocks slowly drifts into sync just from tiny vibrations passing between them. Which means the applause in a crowded room isn't really hundreds of individual decisions. It's one self-organizing pattern, the same kind physicists find in fireflies and clocks, and you're just a node in it. Here's the part that should make you feel better instead of worse. This isn't a character flaw. It's not about being easily influenced or lacking confidence. This is a deeply wired, social survival mechanism. For most of human history, disagreeing visibly with your group wasn't just uncomfortable. It could get you excluded from the group entirely. And exclusion, for most of our evolutionary past, was genuinely dangerous. So your brain built a fast, automatic shortcut. When in doubt, match the room first and evaluate later. Because matching the room was, for a very long time, the safer bet. That shortcut doesn't check whether the situation is actually risky anymore. It fires the same way whether you're facing a hostile tribe or sitting through your cousin's slightly too long wedding toast. Which is exactly why intelligent, self-aware people do this constantly, without noticing. This isn't about gullibility. It's about a system built for a world that mostly doesn't exist anymore. And it's not just applause. Researchers testing canned laughter on sitcoms found that a laugh track doesn't just make a joke seem funnier. It measurably increases how much the actual audience laughs, even when people know the laughter is fake. The same reflex explains why people in meetings nod along with an idea they privately have doubts about, and why a restaurant with a long line outside ends up with an even longer one. People assume the line itself is proof it's worth the wait. This broader principle is called social proof, and applause is really just one of its fastest, most physical expressions. Your body reacts to the group before your conscious mind gets a vote. To be fair, this doesn't mean every ovation is fake or every line is meaningless. Sometimes a room genuinely loves the show, and sometimes a crowd really has found the better restaurant. The unsettling part isn't that agreement is always an illusion. It's that from inside the crowd, real shared enthusiasm and a chain reaction started by 2 or 3 confident people feel completely identical, which raises an uncomfortable question. How many of your actual opinions right now are really yours? And how many are just the room you happen to be sitting in? So here's the real question to sit with. The next time you're in a room and your hands start moving before you've actually decided how you feel, are you agreeing or are you just matching the room? Tell me the last time you caught yourself clapping, nodding, or agreeing with something you didn't actually believe. And tell me if you noticed it happening in the moment or only afterward. This is just one glitch in how your mind works. There are plenty more coming in future videos. Subscribe to catch them.